Good morning, book fighters. It's Thursday, September 9th, and this week I read The Hunger Games trilogy. Just for the record, the discussion of The Hunger Games in this video is going to be pretty spoiler-free. I think we've all decided that we're going to have a live chat at some point with all of the book fighters once we've all finished reading them, and then we can discuss the books in full detail. So you won't be stuck with just these spoiler videos, but we'll let you know as soon as we know when that's happening. These books are exactly as awesome as everyone says they are. There's no way to overstate how awesome they are and how much you should go and read them right now. Like, you stop this video, read them right now. They're so awesome, I want to grind them into a fine paste and cover my entire body with them just so I can hope to absorb just a minuscule amount of their awesome. They're so awesome, I want to blend them into a smoothie and drink them each morning. Now with added fiber. They're so awesome, I want to mate them with Lord of the Rings and sell their offspring for exorbitant amounts of money. Hello, ladies. Ooh, triplet! Seriously, though, I enjoyed them at least as much as Harry Potter. In fact, I think I enjoyed them a little bit more than Harry Potter. So you know it's serious. Julia, I feel kind of bad for you because you keep asking questions and people keep not answering them. But your question last week was, if you were in the Hunger Games, what would you do? And honestly, I would probably die of exposure. Like, if we're looking at my actual skill set and my actual personality, I would probably run away at the very beginning so no one would kill me straight away, but then I'd probably die of thirst or hunger or cold or something like that. But I don't think you're a narcissist for thinking that. I think these books intend for you to wonder what you would do. And they also make you very aware of being the audience. Like, they're always referencing TV, and there are moments where Katniss will think, oh, the audience will be on the edge of their seat. And then I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat like, oh, what happens next? And I'm like, oh, she's talking about me. And can I just say how much I love Katniss? She's one of my favorite fictional characters of all time now. Because she's smart and capable, and she doesn't like play into all of these gender roles that you expect, and the men don't either. Nobody falls into these gender stereotypes, which I really appreciate, because I find it very hard to find female characters I even like, let alone relate to. And she was done very well, and it wasn't written so that it's making a big deal out of the fact that they're not following gender stereotypes, which means you don't even notice it. And I think that's what makes it ultimately accessible for everyone, because usually a book written by a female author with a female main character is going to be classified as a girl's book, but because it doesn't fall into any of these stereotypes, everyone can read it. It's accessible to everybody. Oh, also, to continue our ongoing discussion about MBTI personality types, even though I realize I'm the only one really discussing it, I think when I was reading it, I feel like Katniss is an INFP. Yeah, so tell me what you think about that. Do you think she's an INFP? That's not my official question, but if you have any thoughts on it, let me know. I also really liked these books because they were very personal for me. Like, I could relate to so much in them. Not in that, you know, I live in a futuristic dystopia and am put in battles to the death on a regular basis. Not in that aspect. But in sort of the overarching themes, I can really relate to her, especially in the way it seems like everybody from her best friends up to big government institutions, everybody wants something from her, and everybody wants her to play this particular part, or they need something from her, and that ultimately makes them dangerous. So even if in the case of Gale, it was her best friend for her whole life, or Peeta, who was her partner throughout the Hunger Games, and they have this bond now. She's not able to trust anybody because they all have their own agenda and their own list of things that they want from her. It reminds me a lot of Paper Towns, how we see in somebody just what we need from them, or we see sort of a skewed reflection of ourselves in them, or as a key to filling up all of the broken holes that we see inside of ourselves, and in the end that's not fair for the person, because you're not seeing them as themselves or even as an entire person. And I feel so much like that sometimes. So I don't know, I can just relate to the feelings that she has about that. This feeling of being exploited and torn in all these different directions, and split between your loyalties because you love these people, but they want something out of you you're not able to give, and so you're a traitor in their eyes, even though you're doing absolutely everything you possibly can do, and you just feel totally torn up inside. That's something that I can absolutely relate with, and something that I felt while I was reading this book. Another way that I can relate is with Katniss and Prim. I don't know if you guys have any siblings, but I am the second of 4. My brother and I are only about a year apart, but then my 2 younger sisters are much younger than me, and I kind of feel for my youngest sister the way that Katniss feels for Prim, and so in these big scenes where Katniss is like defending Prim or like crawling through the crowds to save her, I can just feel that. I'm like, that is what I would do, and they cause me so much. So they're so stressful for me. They're so stressful in the same way that Lilo and Stitch was stressful for me, which now everybody's laughing at me. Just go on, I'll give you a minute. Just laugh. Okay, you good now? Okay. In that part in Lilo and Stitch where like Child Protective Services are taking her away from her older sister, like that part almost makes me cry every time I see it, because I can just feel that so much when I watch it. And that's what I feel with Katniss and Prim, like that threat of separation and not being able to protect this person is the worst thing that could possibly happen. So that is my question for you guys, my actual question for you guys this week. Do you have siblings? How many do you have? And can you relate with Katniss and Prim in the same way that I do? Or maybe you're the younger sibling and you have no idea the stress this book causes. And now, everyone else's questions. Sarah's question, what is our middle name and what's the story of our name? My middle name is Renee. It's like the most common middle name you can have. My whole name is actually very common. And my first name is my aunt's middle name, and my middle name is my mom's middle name. So I was really just named after people, which is pretty much the most boring story you can have for a name. But yeah, that's what it was. They were going to name me Laura Elizabeth, but then my grandparents didn't like it, so they didn't. And then Lauren's question about whether I think 2 people come together as whole people, and even if they've been changed, you still leave with everything you had inside of you before. You've just been changed in some way. I absolutely agree with that. I think that when you come into a relationship feeling like this other person is going to complete you, it's just going to be horrible for the relationship and cause a lot of pain, because nobody can ever complete you like that. So if you're looking for someone to do that, it's unfair to them and it's unfair to you. And I think that you come into it as a whole person, and when you leave, you might be changed, but you're still that whole person, and you're still really the same person as you were when you came into it. You just have this new library of experiences. Okay, so that's all I have to say about this week. Next week I'm going to be reading The Princess Bride. Julia, I will see you tomorrow, and best wishes! Fortified with 8 essential vitamins and minerals, now with added fiber. Hunger Games! Fiberlicious. Who is this person that showed up to film today?